guy on for like, bro. It's like, what? This is the only general you guys can find that agrees to this war? General Caney? Like, come on. That's the only guy.
Diplomacy is once again trying to gain some
Yeah,
momentum in
been
the
on
Middle
like
East. Just a
16
short time
times.
ago, President Trump posting in part on Truth Social, great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island. And last night, President Trump told reporters on Air Force One about the regime making a new...
Don't do it, Trump. Don't do it, bro. Attacking their energy infrastructure is not going to make Iran give up. And like I said, it's only going to, like, honestly, it's only going to make this man to be able to get brought up on war crimes later on. Like, it's not a good idea.
New gesture out of a sign of respect.
As you know, they've agreed to send 8 boats 2 days ago, and then they added another 2, so it was 10 boats, but they gave us, I think out of a sign of respect, 20 boats of oil, big boats of oil, going through the Hormuz Strait. And that's taking place starting tomorrow morning.
And Matt Finn is live in Dubai with an update. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Dana. President Trump says the United States recently struck some highly sought-after military targets in Iran, and the president says negotiations with the powers that be in Iran are coming along.
So we've had very good negotiations today with Iran, getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. We'll see how it works out, but they're very good, moving along very nicely. And they've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force has gone.
The Washington Post reports the U.S. is preparing for possible weeks of ground operations in Iran as the U.S. Tripoli and thousands of American soldiers arrive here to the Middle East. However, the Trump administration has not said for certain that American soldiers will go on Iranian soil. Rather, the administration has been indicating that Operation Epic Fury may be winding down soon. And the UAE says Iran has now launched more than 1,900 drones into this country since the war began. Just 27 drone attacks in the past day. Last night, our crew heard the loud explosions in the sky here and apparently no signs of incoming attacks from Iran. Dana?
All right, Bill. Matt Finn, thank you so much. Let's get over to Bill Howard.
All right, Dana, let's go ahead and update what we know from the last 24 hours or so of this war in Iran. First of all, we'll take the reported strikes on behalf of the U.S. and Israelis. What I note here, Dana, is the amount of activity around the capital city of Tehran. You see the inset here? That's at least 17 different strikes that have either been confirmed, reported, or footage, videotape that accompanies a strike in Tehran. The other thing you notice, we're talking a lot about the Strait of Hormuz and the town of Bandar Abbas. I don't see any hits on that town itself, but what I do see are 2 right around this area, the Persian Gulf, up near the border with Iraq, and that would be significant because that is Karg Island, as we mentioned a short time ago. Meanwhile, the Iranians, they have a vote in this war as well. They're striking back on Israel.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering is like, what? Trump keeps saying, don't worry, it'll end shortly. One day, don't worry, guys. We're beating them up. Their missile capabilities are gone. And here's the problem. Well, now that we found out that only 33% has been taken out, they're firing off drones and missiles at will. They're hitting their targets at will. Like, this is not like, it doesn't really seem like things are going the way Trump say they are. And this is why I'm even like, sometimes I even got to lash out against some of my own guys where I'm just like, bro, what was it? I think one of my people started trying to say, oh, you turn into a lefty. And I'm just like, how am I turning into a lefty? Like, dog, do you not see the bullshit right in front of you? They said we had air superiority, but our jets are getting shot down. Helicopter got shot down. They're talking about 90% of their missile capability destroyed. Our own intelligence come out and disprove the president of all people with only 1/3. I mean, like, are you serious? So me telling y'all the truth is me being a lefty. Like, come on, make it make sense. Or maybe you just don't like hearing the truth, and now anybody's telling you the truth about this war as a lefty. Maybe that's just I guess the mental, I don't know. I guess that's the mental gymnastics you got to play to make it make sense then. And if that's you, then go ahead, keep it going. But I'm not going to lie to you just to make you feel better about this war.
Still striking back at Gulf nations, here in UAE, here in Bahrain as well. Reports of a hit there in Kuwait. This is the inset northern Israel. A lot of that is on behalf of Hezbollah from the north and Lebanon. But don't discount the fact that the Iranians have launched numerous missiles over the weekend and a few drones as well directed toward Israel proper. And some of them have hit there. CENTCOM, Americans now. CENTCOM tells us 11,000 targets struck. 11,000 combat flights. That's a lot of activity in a couple of weeks' time. And the Navy is pretty much 90% taken out of commission. This is what the U.S. Navy, the assets that we have in the area.
No, I'm not even sure if I could believe that Navy 90% taken out. I mean, y'all said the same thing about their missiles. Next thing you know, Iran coming out with a fleet of speedboats and shit. Start throwing what? Those handheld missiles, start shooting those at our ships. And then we're going to look at y'all again like I thought you said their Navy was gone. But you know what? How about this? I'm going to take their word for this for now because Iran's Navy has not been seen in weeks. So I'm going to take their word for that one because that I can actually see that. I can see that. But what we can't see is when you guys say 90% of their missile capability has been, well, destroyed. We don't see that. Nor do we see this war ending anytime soon for some reason. I mean, and it's crazy because Trump is giving out this 48-hour to open up the Strait of Hormuz. I'm like, well, I thought you didn't care. I thought you left that up to NATO. What's with the double speak? But I'm sorry if I call that out. I'm being a lefty.
Yeah, this map has not changed a lot for about a month. This entire area has been outfitted with the U.S. Navy.
Things dead, man. Yeah, like, bro, if they start hopping out on speedboats with Chinese shoulder missiles, I'm gonna be pissed. That's all I gotta say.
Navy and the best of the firepower that the U.S. military has to provide. And speaking of the military, we got a guy right here with us right now,
yes,
Dana,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So take us through
General
it.
Jack Keane, thank you for being here.
Yeah, delighted to be here.
So Marco Rubio was on ABC a short time ago. He's talking about Iran. Well, let's go ahead and cue that up. We'll play what he said just a short time ago.
We always prefer to settle things through negotiation and diplomacy, but we also have to be prepared for the fact that that effort might fail, that we are dealing with a 47-year-old regime that still has a lot of people involved in it who aren't necessarily big fans of diplomacy or peace.
So now, what do you take from that and the president?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, now you get it. Now you understand that the regime has more fans than you guys thought. That 80-20, yeah, I mean, look, when the Iranian state media is out there putting out a wanted notice for our soldier or for our pilot, and you got a whole bunch of Iranian farmers and the Iranians just rushing out there to the air to find the guy, it lets you know, like, oh crap. Oh, and guess what? We had regular citizens firing at us with one BS ass rifles and AK-47s, which is BS ass rifles still. But bro, so it lets you guys know, bro, if we go on the ground, we're not just fighting the IRGC. We'll be fighting regular citizens as well. Just like if any military was to come on our soil, they're not just going to be fighting the military. They're going to be fighting us as well. Same situation, sadly.
It's truth from earlier today.
I wonder where they learned that from.
About on again, off again talks, and how do we see through this, General?
Well, I think we're pursuing two objectives here, obviously. One, the military objective to take everything offensive away that Iran has, to include nuclear capability, and reopen the Straits of Hormuz. And then the other one is a diplomatic effort. Knowing the Iranians, they would have to surrender everything that we would take away from them in those negotiations. I think they're unlikely to do that. Why? Because we have a 47-year history with them. And even if they did,
problem is they're okay with giving away their nuclear capability, but their ballistic missiles and their proxies, that's just something that's non-negotiable. And I mean, if it's all about their nuclear capabilities, like I said, Obama fixed that with the JCPOA. And if y'all want to put them under a stricter version, hey, I mean, it might not be too late, but probably what y'all should have did in the first place besides strike off this entire conflict.
Yeah, these guys lie and cheat would be extraordinary. And I think you likely guarantee the regime's going to stay in place as a result of it. Why? Because they would ask for sanction relief. That means they're going to get money. I prefer to pursue the military option for obvious reasons, because it truly weakens the regime. And some of the things we can do to them at the end could actually force an economic collapse of that regime. And that would put them in pretty sad shape. But listen, we're 30 days into this. We're tracking a war by the minute, 24/7. So it seems much longer than what it really is. At the outset, the operation would probably be wrapped up in less than 60 days. If we're able to take Iran's capability away from attacking Israel, our Arab states, and using their proxies as well, and potentially attacking the United States, and do that in less than 60 days, that is a remarkable achievement. And
This brother, I ain't gonna lie, he's kind of preparing us for the 60 days, guys. He's gonna like, look, man, just give it 60 days. And you won't have to worry about their military, their navy, their missiles. Don't worry, the proxies are gonna be gone. Just give it 30 more days, guys. Don't worry, you'll see tremendous gains in that time. And I'm just like, y'all told us that at the beginning of this war, bro. What are you saying? But yes, they're now preparing us to tell everybody, don't worry, guys, just give it 60 days. Okay, guys. All right. Hey, guys, make sure you're double tapping this screen and liking the video. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's make sure we get more people in on this conversation by double tapping that screen.
has always been an acceptable goal that makes sense, given their 47-year history of attacking us and given the fact that so many other presidents chose not to confront them. Admittedly, the capability that Iran has today is much greater than what those other presidents were facing, closer to a nuclear weapon, advancing in ballistic missiles in their...
That's because of our aggression. I mean, bro, we put the sanctions back on them. We killed one of their generals. I mean, bro, we made the IRGC a terrorist group. Well, what do you think was going to happen? That's what I'm saying. It's like they always leave out our aggression towards them. Let's be real. We was never to aggress towards them. We have been, like, you know, before and after those presidents. Then I'll be real with you. We wouldn't be here. But this guy's going to leave out that other side of the story where we've aggressed towards them first, actually. This is actually why they're even at 60% enrichment, is because of Trump ripping up the JCPOA. So that's just the sad reality of it. This guy, man.
Sophistication in their lethality and in their range. And we've seen that demonstrated here with the ability to reach Europe, with the goal to reach the United States. So halfway through, probably, maybe more than that in terms of capabilities and what we destroyed, far more than halfway through.
And in fact, last night when the president spoke to the Financial Times, he did something that I hadn't seen before, which is give us a denominator, because he said we have destroyed 13,000 of their ballistic missile capabilities, and he said there are about 3,000 left to go. Does that sound like in the ballpark for you?
Well, I think, yeah, the overwhelming majority is what we've destroyed. And, you know, I think the football analogy works well here. You know, we're on a 20-yard line. We're trying to score a goal of victory here. And that last 20 yards is hard. What are the Iranians doing? They are trying to protect and preserve as much of their capability as they can so that they can continue. One, they stay in power. And two, they have the capability to retaliate and retaliate after termination so that they can demonstrate that they still have the capability. They won the war. That's how they would describe it. So the last 20 yards here is going to be harder than the first 80, for sure. And that's why it may take a little longer to finish that off in terms of the third of what you're describing still remains.
You know, in the past 24 hours, the discussions have been troops on the ground in Iran, and I want to get your viewpoint on that. And also what Zelensky is referring to with the Russians and perhaps the Chinese as well, giving satellite assistance to the Iranians so that they can target whether it's Israel or our Gulf neighbors in the region or American forces operating in bases there.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's on the troops on the ground. Well, first of all, so our audience understands, we are not talking about an invasion force here. We're talking about thousands of troops that would be used for a specific mission, and it would be time sensitive. We're not looking...
Bro, are you dumb? I'm sorry, but yes, that would be invading. Boots on the ground. We're going to invade Iran to secure their nuclear material. I mean, bro, just be honest about it. You ain't got to sit there and, like, I ain't going to be real with you, play ambiguity games with us. Like, no, we know exactly what it is. It's an invasion. We got to put boots on the ground. We got to invade Iran to take out their nuclear capability or secure it. Yeah, secure the enriched uranium in the 400 kilos. And guess what? They might have that spread out amongst Iran. So we're really going to have to do like a deeper invasion into Iran, multiple cities, multiple places just to get this nuclear material. So please don't make, I'm sorry, but please don't play with our intelligence. Like, people are not dumb. They know what has to be done for us to get that nuclear material.
For some kind of prolonged campaign with our troops like we are with our air power. This would be something that would be temporary, specific, with a specific goal in mind. And the president has options to do it that way or to do it with air power. So I think the troops are being brought into the region so that he has the options to play that hand if he wants to. He may not. He may just play some of it. He may play all of it. And that's why they're there. In terms of it, let's understand something. Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea collectively present the greatest threat we have seen since World War II to the United States' national interests. The fact that they are working and colluding together should not surprise anybody here. It is in their interest for the United States to get itself wrapped up into something that people describe as a quagmire.
I'm sorry, but yeah, you want to know why? Because one, they get to see all of our tech in action, all of our military tech, they get to see it in action. That means they get to make updates and adjustments to their tech just in case they ever got to go up with us. That's why it's kind of best not to show off unless it's necessary. And trust me, this was not necessary. We could have got what we want out of Iran through diplomatic means. Now we got China and Russia over here testing out their equipment on ours. And I know some people like to say, oh, we're flexing in front of China and Russia and they know better. No, bro. We're pretty much showing our cards to them and now they can adjust.
Get wrapped up in something that's really challenging for us. That's not going to happen. But they want to do everything they can to assist in that happening. And certainly they're helping out the Iranians.
Hey, Terry, appreciate you pulling up, sis, and telling me that, because that's what a lot of people's been telling me, like they're not getting my notifications. So thank you, so I can document that for YouTube, because I know some reason not even my members are getting notifications or my shorts aren't pulling up. It's like crazy, but I appreciate you pulling up, sis.
Rather significantly here, and the Russians are providing them with regular intelligence on a consistent basis. Listen, we have an intelligence cell that operates on behalf of Ukraine, and we give them exquisite intelligence every day. Russians have a similar capability that we have, and you can be assured they're giving it to the Iranians.
Thank you for being here. Mondays seem to be big news day.
And that's why I don't like this, because like I said, I'm pretty sure, Russia's over here looking at us going like, oh, so that's what we just can do? China, oh, really? All right, well, look, we're going to give you guys this, test this out against them, and then we'll see, and, let us know how it goes. And if it don't go well, we'll give you some upgrades. That's the problem with this war. We're literally showing our hands to our enemies, and they're now able to make adjustments. And like I said, I know a lot of people want to frame this as us pretty much flexing on them, but no, not really. We're just letting them know our capabilities so they can adjust. And then also sell those adjustments to the Iranians. And plus more. But all right, though, let's get right into it.
Skinner, Fox News contributor. Let's bring in Kyron Skinner, Fox News contributor and senior advisor at the Heritage Foundation. The administration, the Pentagon, had to know that the Strait of Hormuz was going to be a problem after attacking Iran. Why is it that we can't seem to get the Iranians to release their grip on the strait?
Well, the U.S. military was well prepared for what it's facing. And the administration never said that this would be easy, but it has had enormous success in fully degrading the Iranian Navy and its Air Force and taking out many of its most lethal weapons. But at the same time, Iran has the gift of geography. 1,000 miles along the Persian Gulf, and it has mountains and caves nearby where its remaining weapons become more lethal than they would in another situation. For example, medium-range missiles now are incredibly valuable. They can be used from mountains and caves along the Persian Gulf to menace and destroy ships that are trying to transit the Persian Gulf. That's a problem. And despite the fact that the administration has taken out so many, the fact that they have any left allows the IRGC to live another day. In addition, they have the capacity to use small attack boats and other methods that a bigger military like the U.S. does not have readily available. Furthermore,
Well, now we do. I mean, we got drone speedboats now, guys. We have drone speedboats out there patrolling the Strait of Hormuz, combating what the Iranians are doing right now on their speedboats. I'm not even sure if they're still doing it, but we did find a way to combat it. We got drone speedboats out there, pretty much taking care of the speedboats, that the Iranian speedboats in the Strait of Hormuz. But sadly, no boats are moving through because that doesn't really take away the threat of the missiles or the drones. It just takes away the threat of the speedboats.
or I'd like to say the Europeans need to do more in join this fight. The U.S. is carrying much of the burden alone with Israel as well. And given the multi-pronged attack of the Iranians with what little they have left, the West needs to be unified to end this fight.
Alex Gray is the former chief of staff at the National Security Council. He says that reopening the strait is doable, but difficult. Listen.
I have advocated that we need to go in and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. This is something that the U.S. Navy has prepared to do for at least 40 years. They did some of that in the late 1980s. The Navy knows how to do it, but it's a complicated mission. It's a dangerous mission.
Okay, it's complicated and dangerous, but, you know, why not go in and do it?
Actually, it is happening. And so I agree with Alex. It needs to be done. I agree.
Because, I mean, that's a problem. Us trying to open up the Strait of Hormuz is going to be a full-on missile assault coming from the Houthis and Iran. And we're going to have to deal with that. And that's going to be a problem. And military assets will be damaged, and God forbid lives will be lost. So that's what they're saying. Like, it's doable, just like us invading Iran and taking it over. It's doable. Most likely we'll win, but how much losses are we willing to take for that? That's the problem.
In particular, with his point that the U.S. military has been preparing for this for decades. And so I do want the audience to know that the administration is not just building on what it has observed in the last few weeks. This has been worked on through war gaming and other preparations for many, many decades across the U.S. interagency and the national security sphere. But this is also a time in which the U.S. has done something that it had not done before. It has taken out the leadership of Iran, and it has taken out many others as well. So this is a very different phase, which makes, I think, the Persian Gulf a much more contested space than it would have been otherwise. Okay. And thus taking out or opening up the Strait of Hormuz is not as straightforward as one might think.
Yeah.
And given the fact also that Iranian proxies are still living another day is a problem.
And like I said, I can like geographically explain this for you. So let's go ahead and get into the Middle East, guys. Like I said, this is Yemen, where the Houthis are at. So this is Yemen, and sadly, the Houthis are right here. Like, this is all this little corner right here of Yemen. This is all Houthi territory. So yeah, the Gulf of Aden, they can pretty much close that up. And you know, the Omanians and the UAE and the Saudi Arabians, they use that. And these guys have missiles to hit their ports over here in Jeddah. And these guys also have the reach to hit Omani ports in Muscat, or they probably got some around here as well, but just not documented on the map. So yes, they have the complete capability to close down the Red Sea. And then, of course, they also have the capability to shoot in also to the Strait of Hormuz. It's going to be a bit farther. It's not going to be as easy as it is for Iran, as you see, just being right there. But as you see, like I said, it's not going to be as easy, because you got the Houthis and you got Iran to worry about. And yes, they do have the missile reach to get into the Strait of Hormuz, sadly.
Right. Been degraded, still living another day is a problem. Hezbollah's been degraded, but it's still there. The fact that the Houthis in Yemen have entered the...
Oh, guys. Okay, yeah, about to say, we got about, what, 16 of y'all in here from what I see right now. Go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
The fray, means that this is much more of a regional conflict. And many of the regional partners are trying to decide how kinetic they're prepared to become. And those questions are being debated and discussed now.
Yeah.
The Arab Gulf states are facing quite a bit of pounding with U.S. military bases and with embassies and consulates in the region. So it's not quite right to say just open up the Strait of Hormuz. Give the U.S. military time, because it's taking on all of these dimensions mainly by itself all at once.
Yeah.
It's a profound military effort that has been undertaken.
Well, the president is saying that Iran has a couple of days to stop blocking the strait, and if not, they're in for it. We'll see what transpires of all this. Kyron Skinner. Kyron, thank you.
But all right, though. Let's go ahead and get into a little bit of independent media. Shout out PBD. They had a pretty good conversation on this.
And I'm going to come to you, Luke. China-Russia cooperation hands the U.S. a grievous loss as Iran conflict escalates. Expert warns. Rob, I think you got a clip on this, because this is causing some people to get close to each other. This is Gordon Chan. We've had him on the show before. Go ahead, Rob.
Gordon, anything else strike you about China's relationship with Iran and how it's undermining the United States in all of this?
I'm going to come to you with this one first.
We just lost an AWACS plane in Saudi Arabia, and the Russians and the Chinese almost certainly supplied the information to Iran for targeting purposes. That was a grievous loss for us. There's got to be some costs on China for continuing its support of Iran.
Yeah, and that was an early warning jet, which gives early warnings to intelligence to the region's officials and troops on the ground. And the Wall Street Journal reported that a replacement of that jet will cost $700 million. That was a real loss. You're right. And you're saying the reason that they knew where that jet was is because China provided the information.
What?
Yes. From even before this war started, you had a private Chinese company, Maser Vision, showing the location of U.S. military assets in the region along with specific coordinates. And then we have that large Chinese intelligence ship just off Iranian waters. China's support for Iran is almost across the board. The only thing they don't do is they don't supply combat troops. But apart from that,
that's what I'm saying. They're over here supplying, bro. Like, what was it? Chinese shoulder missiles, giving them intelligence. I mean, next thing you know, they're going to start giving these bastards jets, and then we're really going to have an Oshimo. Actually, worst thing China honestly could do is give these guys a nuke. But right now, they're kind of testing all their capabilities on, honestly, all their new weapons on us. They're giving their new capabilities or their new weapons to Iran. Iran tests out on us, and then China goes and make the adjustments. And that's what I'm saying. This is not a W on China, or it's not even a W on Russia, because they're seeing our weapons in action. Now they're able to adjust. I mean, if we were fighting them and surprising them with all of our weaponry, there wouldn't really be much they can do. But when they can sit on the sideline and view everything, there's a lot they can do. Like, they take in notes.
China is there. And
I mean, just like we were taking notes when Russia was getting into it with Ukraine. We were